I just want to sit down and talk about this high growth thing because everyone's takes have been kind of one note today, and I don't fully agree with where most of it landed. So let me just walk through what I actually think. So Charles had Harry, Meghan, and the kids over at Highgrove. Camilla was there, no official photo, no press, just a quiet visit that somehow turned into the loudest royal headline of the week, if not the year. And the reaction I have been seeing pretty much one flavor. Charles is weak. Charles caved. Charles shouldn't have opened the door. And look, I get it. I've been hard on Charles plenty of times on this channel. You know, I don't hold back when I think he has messed up. But this one, I think you have to hold two things in your head at the same time, and most people are only holding one of them. So let me do the two perspectives thing. Perspective number one, Charles is a guy in his late 70s. He's got a cancer diagnosis. The clock is ticking. The clock is doing what the clock does best. And he knows it. And under the crown, under the King of England thing, he is a grandfather who wants to see his grandkids while he still can. That's it. That is not a strategy. That is not politics. That is the most ordinary human thing in the world. Anyone who has watched a parent or a grandparent get older recognizes this instantly. At some point, the horizon gets shorter, and the little pride calculations you used to make just stop mattering as much. You want the people you love in the room. That is the whole thing. And the kids have nothing to do with any of this. Lydia and Archie didn't sign up for the memoir. They didn't sit on Oprah's couch. They don't know or care about any of the drama. They are kids. And any grandfather in his position would want to hold them, hear them laugh, walk around the garden with them. I am not going to be mad at Charles for that specific piece. Not this time. Now, perspective number two. And okay, this is where it gets messier. Charles is also the king. And the king represents an institution and a country and a whole set of values people associated with the crown. We have, of course, compassion, forgiveness, continuity, all of it. Elizabeth II carried that so easily for 70 years that we all kind of forgot how much work it was. And listen, forgiveness is a beautiful thing in theory, but in practice, I have never bought the idea that you turn the other cheek kind of forever. Okay, you get slapped once, sure, turn the cheek. You get slapped twice, fine, we can talk about it. But by the third and fourth and fifth time, you're not being forgiven anymore. You're just standing there getting hit. And that is really where the frustration with Charles has some teeth. Because the Harkles have gone after this family on camera, on Netflix, on Spotify. In a book, you could not throw a stone in an airport without hitting for 6 months. In interview after interview for years. They let the word racist attach itself to the entire institution and the family on a global broadcast and just walk away and let it hang there. They monetize every scrap of proximity and then complain about being defined by proximity. No accountability, no walk back, no acknowledgement of anything. And Charles keeps the door open anyway? Look, I've been saying for over a year now that the titles don't matter much anyway. Duke and Duchess of Sausages have been so thoroughly dragged through the mud by the two people wearing them that at this point the titles don't scratch the crown, not even a little. So that opinion hasn't budged, and this week didn't budge it either. Whether Charles legally can strip them, that's a whole separate rabbit hole, but the will to do it clearly is not there, and Highgrove kind of tells you exactly why. Now, one thing I want to flag because I think people are underselling it. Camilla was in the room, and that matters. Because whatever actually got said in there, whatever the vibe was, whatever anyone promised or didn't promise, there's a witness who is not named Harry and not named Meghan. If some friendly profile pops up next month with the whole visit repackaged as heartwarming and generous and full of recognition energy, or after Charles is gone, there's at least one other person on the planet who knows if that version was real. So Camilla is the insurance policy on this thing, and I don't think that's accidental. But okay, here's the part I really want to leave you with, because almost nobody is talking about this, and it's actually the part that matters. Charles is not going to be the king forever, and William is not Charles, not even close. William watched this whole thing happen up close, in real time, as the guy who had to hold the line while his brother was pouring gasoline on the family. He's not going to spend his reign quietly hoping for a thaw. He's not going to open Highgrove or Anmer or Adelaide or any other door. So whatever affection existed before those two brothers, one side has very publicly, very deliberately, very repeatedly dismantled it. And William is the kind of guy who, once he's made up his mind, does not go back and revisit. So those rumors that keep floating around, the ones, maybe they will come back for Christmas, maybe there will be a family photo op of some future thing, maybe a coronation invite. Understand what those actually are. They are trial balloons. Somebody floats them to see who responds, and the only reason any of them ever land as real events is because Charles is the one on the throne, and Charles is the one who still picks up the phone. But under William, those same rumors just will stay rumors forever. The Harkles will keep floating them, of course. Friendly outlets will keep printing them, and absolutely nothing will come of any of them. Not because William is being cruel, but because he has moved on. The way you move on from someone who's told you exactly who they are in public on a schedule. So by the time William is king, the monarchy is going to have a lot on its plate, by the way. Real challenges, real institutional stuff, real work. And the Harkles are going to be a footnote, at best, in a reign of paparazzis that, in their reign of paparazzi, but nothing to do with England, the UK, because I'm pretty sure the UK will have much bigger fish to fry. There's a very specific kind of powerlessness that comes from being ignored by the person you spent a decade attacking, and I think that's where the sausages are headed, whether they can see it coming or not. So that is my take on Highgrove, if I'm being straight with you. I'm not going to sit here and pretend Charles messed up as a grandfather. He didn't. He made a very understandable choice as a man with a diagnosis and a short runway. What Charles has done as the king over years now, refusing to enforce any real consequence for what those two have done to the royal family and the institution and the UK's values and principles, that is a different conversation. And that is a conversation the public actually wants to have. So both things can be true at once. They don't cancel each other out. The visit happened, it's done. The next question is what the Harkles do with it, and how long it takes before a suspiciously warm profile shows up somewhere with just the right amount of detail. I've got my money on not for long. So watch this space. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Much love and bliss.